Alrighty, there's a few people missing, unfortunately. They will interrupt this. Like Tom, for example. Welcome to Enlightenment Developer Day 2014. So, Enlightenment, EFL, where is it now? I'm going to go through this quickly because we've got a very big day. I'll try and use less time. So first, thanks to Samsung for paying for this. Samsung has footed the bill again, so thanks, Uncle Sammy. And I just want to make it clear, we did originally plan to go with Linux Foundation, and it's not really their fault at all, but unfortunately due to budget constraints, we couldn't continue there, so we had to cancel and redo the event entirely ourselves. It did mean we could come within budget, but we kind of had to make it look like the event was cancelled. It isn't their fault at all, nothing to do with them. It's just an unfortunate thing that happened. So, but Samsung footed the bill. Oh, look, there's a Mac logo. Where did that come from? So, what has happened since last year? So, EFL 1.8, 1.9, 1.10, and 1.11 have come out, which is good. We've actually been doing that timed release thing. It has been working. Well, working in as that releases actually came out pretty much exactly on time. So, awesome job. Yep. No, they're working. No, they're working. That's good. Releases do come out. It's kind of fun when now I get questions about, so what EFL release should we ship? I'm going to say, I don't know, the one that comes out before you want to ship something. What one's that? I don't know, they come out every 3 months. You go do the math. You figure out when you want to release and you choose. We don't have to bother anymore. It's just easier this way. It's easier for those consuming EFL. You know that a release comes out almost like clockwork every approximately 12 weeks, give or take a couple of days or a week here or there. You just choose the latest one that meets your timetable. Features may or may not be there by that time, but you know that there is a release. And that release will get supported for up to another 3 months. At which point any support after that is totally being Mr. Nice Guy. There isn't any guaranteed support. So, aha! More French people turning up. So, very good. EO and Eolian has actually been a huge amount of work in the EFL code base. I think too many people would underestimate just how much code this has touched. It has touched almost everything out there. There's a lot of back-patting needed to those who've done the work. Unfortunately, not all of them are here at the moment. Yes. So, but going forward, this stuff is really important. It's probably one of the key pieces of work in EFL. The C++ bindings, they're there. They're nicely done. Yes, they could be a little bit more perfect, but they're there. They're good. They're working. Our big problem is actually not the C++ stuff at the moment. Now it's deeper in EO and the actual EO files, our interfaces, etc., cleaning that stuff up. That's where almost all the work is. There's not a lot left to do on the C++ stuff. So that's really good. I really would love it if we never have to touch that code again, the C++ code, for the simple reason that that would verify that we can go and support a language and from then have basically zero maintenance. And that is really what we want. We don't have enough developers to continuously work on things all day long. We have to focus on what is useful and work there. At that time. If we can make something once and have it keep working forever, that's the best thing we can do. So EverSubject 3D, that's being worked on and that's coming along very well. It's not ready yet, but there's a lot of code there. No one's really using it much yet. That hopefully will change. We should have, I hope we're going to get some nice demos and actual applications that make some decent use of this. Ideally love to see some cool little games or something that use it as part of a game to make life easier. That would be kind of a good use of it. So that's a lot of work. The text filters, no one really uses this much at the moment, but they are there. That's actually a fair amount of work. in there, and it adds a lot of features to Evis that people ask for, but they're not using it at the moment either, even though they ask for them. Now, who here has not looked at any of the Coverity scan reports? Who has not seen them? Come on, some of you have not seen them. Yeah, you have been. Okay, lazy bastard, good. I get to blame somebody. No, if you have not looked at the Coverity reports, look at them. Coverity is a really, really useful tool. It finds bugs that humans will basically pretty much never be able to spot. They're bugs waiting to happen. They're probably bugs that are happening right now, but you don't see them crashing or having a problem. What you do is you see the side effects of them somewhere else with weird behavior. So we have reduced our bug ratings for both EFL and elementary down to ridiculously low levels. Elementary is 0. That's like very, very, very low. The kernel 0.3 or so these days. EFL is at 0.1. So that is actually a really good indicator that in general the code quality is really good. What's normally considered good quality commercial code is 1, i.e. 1 bug per 1,000 lines of code. So that's a lot better. No, it's not absolutely perfect, but that's really good. Should be proud of that. So it doesn't mean we're bug-free, absolutely not. But it means a certain class of bugs we are nuking and getting rid of, and that means potential side effects from those bugs are going away. So that's really good. So interestingly enough, the size of our code base is growing faster than any of the other competing toolkits. Qt is growing about a rate of 4.7% in the last 12 months. That's the total size of code base. I'm not covering deleted code. I'm just covering just growth in total size of project. GTK grew at almost double that at 8.3%, and we are at 12.7%. So we're 3 times the growth rate of Qt and about 50% more, give or take, than GTK. So that's a lot of growth in code. The problem with a lot of growth in code is that's a lot more code for developers to have to understand, know, maintain, and keep in their heads. So we kind of need to grow our developer base too to keep up with that, or find ways of managing the code better, so we don't need as many developers. But we are growing relatively rapidly. And we've done lots of other little things in the last 12 months. Enlightenment 0.18 has been out in the last 12 months, and 0.19. The releases are coming out, but not as rapidly as they could be or should be. We need to step up our release rate here, have more releases with smaller numbers of changes in them, so people can get updates faster. So that would be really good. Terminology, several releases of that have come out as well. That's really good. 0.7 is almost on its way. Video Rage, EPOR, BitTorrent thingy, Inventor, doing nice little Edge EDC editing goop. That's come out. A Fleet, that's been worked on, and we've had stuff coming out there. Many Python releases. And in fact, there's work going on to try and improve that at the moment, to use EO and Aeolian to define the Python bindings as opposed to do them by hand. But the by hand ones have been coming out as well. And a lot more up in the above EFL library space. What has sucked? Our documentation has sucked. And it continues to suck. In fact, it's actually gotten worse. Since EFL 1.7, because when we merged everything, a lot of our documentation kind of disappeared. It didn't actually disappear. What happened is you just can't find it anymore. It's there. If you Google for it, you can find it. If you know exactly what to look for, you will find it. But there's no way to link to it, no way to hunt it down from, let's say, the main pages of documentation. It's very difficult. And EO makes this far more complicated because we have to support more than one language. We ought to support C, C++, Ancoming, Lua, possibly Python, JavaScript, etc., etc., etc. This makes documentation far more complicated for us. It is a very, very unique problem that we have. It's not a problem that the Qt guys or the GTK guys have, because neither of those support more than one language from the core project. They just support a single language with a single API. We are not doing that. So we have a very unique problem we have to try and solve. Evis Render, which has needed a rewrite for a very long time, has not gotten it. That's bad. This impacts the performance of E. Definitely, it impacts the performance of everything. And it means we can't really thread our rendering effectively. It also means there are a ton of bugs which are just intractable. We cannot fix them. If you fix the bug in one way, you create another bug. You fix that bug, you create a third bug. You fix that bug, you create a fourth bug. No matter how much you chase that bug, you'll be chasing bugs forever because the code is far too complicated. It's got 10 years plus of legacy in that code. Code that was designed for a flat rendering model, for models that we no longer actually use or care about, is there. And it's got lots of nasty, really tricky optimizations that make it very hard to follow. So that needs simplification and cleaning up. And that hasn't happened, so that's what sucked. The interface redo for EO, Tom, where is he? No. It has been a bit slow coming. This would have been better to have happened earlier, a few months ago. But it's underway at the moment, but it's a bit slow. So that's kind of one of the things that has sucked as well. What can we do better? Documentation, of course. We can improve our documentation. We need to consolidate our documentation. Having too much spread around the internet in various blogs, wikis, websites. Tizen has a large blob of documentation that's separate to the EFL stuff. A lot of people haven't seen it yet, but that's separate. We need to consolidate in one place so it's easy to find your information. We have to cover multiple languages, of course, C++, and soon Lua coming online. The new Python bindings which follow all the EO classes, and then later other things, JavaScript, etc. You want to have all this documented as well so people can write in those languages effectively and know what they're doing. We likely need to have a new documentation system because I don't think Doxygen is going to be it. Doxygen cannot handle these other language requirements. So we're going to have to think up some solution. If someone knows of an existing solution that can help us here, I did look at Sphinx. That doesn't really help us. I haven't found anything that really is going to help. I suspect we're going to have to write our own. It sucks. It's another bit of work that we shouldn't have to do, but we're probably going to have to because no one else has trodden this path before and solved this problem before that I can find, unless someone knows. That would be handy. We need E20. From E20 on, we need more frequent releases. And we need more people working on it. There's not enough people working on it. Enlightenment is, in fact, the primary reason EFL exists. And there's not enough work happening on Enlightenment itself. It needs to have more love. Just because it is a showcase, it's what everyone thinks about, it is, in and of itself, a large test suite for EFL, effectively. So there's few too many people working on it, more people pitching in, helping out, scratching your own itch, fixing the bug you have, fixing the problem you have, making the UI better, etc., etc., etc. Pitch in. Elementary does need workers too. Widgets need improvement. Bugs need fixing. Reality is actually elementary probably has way too many widgets. If we can refactor and simplify it, so where there are specialized widgets now, they just build on existing widgets in the background. So we can cut down code, that would be very good. And we need to build a bigger ecosystem. We need better tools for developing applications. We need to make it easier to create new applications to lower the barrier of entry. We need better design tools. Inventor is a really good step there. Fleet is another really good step in doing this. But more design tools, more IDE tools, more editor stuff, anything we can do to make life easier. With EFL, that's what would help. And more publicity. So writing blogs, putting stuff out there, getting stuff on news. If you write a cool application that has a lot of eye candy, that's trendy, that has knock-on effects. People see the app. They don't care about a toolkit. 99.9% of people don't care about a library or a toolkit. It is irrelevant to them. What's relevant to them is useful tools and applications, things that make their life better, that make them happy, that solve their problems. And if you make tools, you make applications that solve their problems, they will like that. And as a byproduct, they will see the toolkit it's built with as a positive thing. It made that application possible, or it made it cool. Terminology is in fact one of those things that makes EFL cool. I don't know if everyone knows this. Greg Crow-Hartman, He uses terminology. He's a kernel developer. He does it because he just thinks terminology is so cool. He thinks it's awesome. He likes it. And that's good. That makes a user happy. And because of him, he sticks EFL on his box, so he already has it installed. And the more apps that are there, the more likely it is someone has it installed, the more likely it is someone will use it to develop applications because they see, oh wait, EFL is installed everywhere. Okay, I can use it. So publicity is good. However you get publicity, any publicity is good publicity. Okay, most of the time. So today, talk about your ideas, talk about what you've done, share what you've experienced, share what you have actually accomplished, what you think's cool, what you think is not. Talk about the past, what has happened, what you're proud about, etc. And plan for the future. Think about what you can do to make your life, someone else's life, everyone's life better. And enjoy yourselves.